In previous episodes of the Lacerda Archives videos, we discussed many of the mysterious and shocking information contained in the archives. After Lacerda, who claimed to be from an underground civilization, introduced a lot of information that he personally called the truth of the earth and the true origin of human beings, the most direct feeling to me was that the content of these materials was really incredible. He talked about the extinction of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, not because of the natural disaster of an asteroid hitting the Earth, but because of the alien war between two extraterrestrial civilization races to snatch the Earth's rich copper mines in that ancient time. After the defeat of one of the extraterrestrial races at the time, they forced the use of destructive weapons that were still experimental. A special thermonuclear missile capable of destroying planetary life forms without harming native minerals. Here we can see Lacerda's elaboration of oral. The nuclear bomb ignited in space and detonated at a site you today call Mesoamerica. The explosion of this thermonuclear missile was located in the ocean, creating an unpredictable fusion of elements with new elements that created the reptilians considered more serious consequences. Fallout from different elements gave Earth a nuclear winter that lasted 200 years, and things seem to be more than that. We can start from the details of Central America. Its range is in the central part of the American continent south of Mexico and north of Colombia. The general scope is shown in the figure. However, it is incredible that within the scope of this Central America, there is actually a huge meteorite impact crater. After being hit, it is currently located under the surface of the land. Scientists discovered him through a special survey method. And what is more special is that he is one of the strongest evidences in the meteorite impact theory in the extinction of the dinosaurs. The crater is slightly elliptical overall, with an exaggerated average diameter of more than 180 kilometers. It is the largest impact terrain ever discovered on the Earth's surface. Because the city near the center of the crater is named Chicxulub, the crater is called Chicxulub crater. One detail we need to keep in mind is that Lacerda told Oral about the ancient alien war on Earth 65 million years ago. This war directly led to the mass extinction of most of the life on Earth, especially the extinction of the dinosaurs. However, the history of the Chicxulub crater is also shown in the recorded scientific data to be 65 million years ago. Lacerda continued, "One of the results of the nuclear explosion is the generation of nuclear radiation dust and different elements. Matter, one of the elements is iridium. Your human scientists walked into the door of truth and then came out on their own. In the end you blame it as the aftermath of a huge meteorite impact. A meteorite impact would not have produced such a huge concentration of iridium. Was there really iridium in the disaster 65 million years ago?" With this question in mind, I looked up a lot of information, and in fact it did. The most exaggerated thing is that today, people can still find iridium elements with extremely abnormal concentrations in the Cretaceous-Paleogene boundary, referred to as KPG for short. The old name of KPG is K/T. They describe the same thing, and the abnormal content of iridium is frequently mentioned in the research materials about the extinction of dinosaurs. The abnormal content of iridium is not only found near the Hicks River crater, but the content of iridium in the geological boundaries of the K/T layer around the world is quite abnormal. Under these evidences, Lacerda's sentence caused a global catastrophe, and it seems that scientific evidence of reality can be seen from the abnormal concentration of iridium elements in the world of that time. In addition, the research data for this material comes from Walter Alvarez, the son of the Nobel Prize-winning scientist Alvarez, the founder of the Juncker impact theory. He studied the K/T boundary layer in the late 1970s, and it was after that extremely abnormal iridium content in that ancient period was discovered. In addition to this, he also found a large number of impact quartz particles. As a result of these discoveries, the widely circulated theory of meteorite impacts was born. However, when I researched the source material for this theory, I discovered a secret. the material located in this geological boundary does say that shock quartz grains are created by asteroid impacts. But the back of this sentence does not end. It can also be produced by a nuclear explosion. You can clearly see the real records in these scientific materials here. Let us continue to look down. The explanation here is that we are assured that the dinosaurs would not have nuclear weapons. So this is likely to prove that the disaster at the time was caused by an asteroid impact. Perhaps because of this, Lacerda told Oral that you humans walked into the gate of truth but came out of your own. If the information in the Lacerda files were in some cases closer to the so-called truth, what scientists didn't expect was that dinosaurs did not have nuclear weapons at the time, but that was because the nuclear weapons came from one of two extraterrestrial races. That is to say, there is authoritative scientific evidence that the matter in the K/T boundary layer can come from another situation that subverts people's cognition. But who would think that these shocking quartz particle phenomena could be nuclear explosions with no margins? Lacerda continued, your scientists today saw the concentration of iridium in the land as evidence that an asteroid hit the Earth and killed the dinosaurs. But this judgment is wrong. However, how do you human scientists know that? Things seem to be getting more and more incredible. The element iridium, the 77th element in the periodic table, is a very dense platinum-like metal with high corrosion resistance. At the same time, iridium element covers a variety of isotopes. But as I dug into it, an isotope called iridium-192 seemed to have a big problem. Iridium-192 is a radioactive isotope, which means it is one of the forms of iridium. Its main form of neutron-counting element, containing different numbers of neutrons, iridium-192 does not occur naturally. Instead, scientists had to put iridium-191 into a nuclear reactor and bombard it with neutrons. Iridium-191 then absorbs an extra neutron to become iridium-192. Yes, iridium-192 cannot be produced naturally, but must be processed artificially. However, this processing method is a coincidence. This is the nuclear reaction played in the Lesser Tower file. Now we might as well go back to the time when the theory of asteroid impact was put forward. In this data, we can clearly find that many scientists at the time did not think that the junk from space would cause such a huge destructive force that it caused the Earth to have a 200-year nuclear winter, and at the same time wiped out almost all the dinosaurs. So what do you find when we connect this information? That's right. Is it possible that the mass extinction of species on Earth was caused by the explosion of iridium-192's nuclear reaction? The reason why I came to this conclusion is because of the very special properties of iridium-192. Little is known about the lethality of large-scale iridium-192, but we do know that iridium-192 is very dangerous, and accidental exposure to its radiation can cause serious injury. Large amounts of iridium-192 increase the risk of cancer. Perhaps we can see his terrifying lethality from the following examples. In the early morning of September 2nd, 2001, a construction team was inspecting flaws. This is using iridium-192 to detect cracks and defects inside metal materials or components. However, the construction team dropped the radioactive source from the instrument and left it on the site. A staff member found the radioactive source when he went to work the next day, picked it up and played back and forth between his hands, watched it for about 20 minutes, then put it in the left trouser pocket, put it in the toolbox 2 hours later, and put it in the toolbox. Eat and rest by the side. When taking a shower after get off work in the afternoon, the staff member began to develop congestive erythema on his right leg. In the time that followed, his wounds started to get worse. Even though I've blurred these photos, I think you have some idea of the severity of the iridium-192's lethality. Recall this passage from Lacerda when that race used a special thermonuclear missile capable of destroying planetary life forms without harming native minerals. And this sentence, one of the results of a nuclear explosion is the creation of nuclear fallout of different elements. one of which is iridium. Oral later asked to take a photo of Lycerda, and Lestat replied that I knew that if I took some pictures, it would be very helpful to prove the truth of what I said. Since most people are suspicious of this information, taking pictures for evidence may be a wake-up call to some of you humans. But even if you have a photo, many of your ilk will question the authenticity of the photo. Most importantly, it is not my or our race's duty to help your human development. Know that our species needs to remain secretive. The fact that I am sharing information with you does not mean that I am exposing my race to the cause of humanity, which is not good for either race. I hope this information will enlighten some humans who need to know him. Other than that, more of the reason I'm telling you these things is out of my curiosity, and what I'm currently researching. At the same time, I have no obligation to lead humanity forward. The change of the human race is the path that your own race needs to walk, and the denial of fixed thinking and dominance is an endless phenomenon of your human existence at present. If the pictures of our species are questioned by you humans, it will be the same as you humans cannot properly call us by name. For us, this is a very offensive behavior. Even if you show my photos to your kind, some of you humans will instinctively deny the existence of other races and civilizations on the Earth, which is closely related to some inherent characteristics of the human mind city. Part of the factor that caused this situation came from the group of Illinois who transformed your race. Lycerda allowed Oral to draw himself and his equipment, but he was not allowed to take pictures. This is Oral and Rice. For the first time, Tower discussed the issue of cameras and videography. The second time the information about taking pictures was discussed was after Lycerda told Oral about the switch of human mind consciousness, which is what I introduced in my previous video. Lycerda told Oriel that their race would use psychic powers to protect yourself or even attack. Later, he asked, "This is really terrible, can you use this ability to end other people's lives?" "Yes, but it's forbidden. But that's not to say it wasn't used in earlier years," Lesta said. At the same time, Lycerda also revealed to Oral that in their race, both men and women have this ability. After Lycerda told Oral about human mental abilities, and that the lizard men can make humans invisible to their real faces, Oral has realized a problem. If you can make humans invisible to your real face, then there is no mind what will happen if the mechanical apparatus of consciousness takes pictures of you. Lesta replied, "This is not a very content question. In the previous conversation, I have actually spoken to you indirectly about taking pictures, because I will be in reptilian form on the picture, and I cannot affect the photo or the camera itself, only the mind of the photographer. If he showers pictures for others to see, then the person who is not mentally influenced by me will see my prototype. That's why our species is forbidden to be photographed or videotaped. For this reason, I will not risk undermining the principles of our species' secrecy by giving you real photographs as evidence of the veracity of our conversations. Beyond that, it is more likely that the majority of your human condition will continue to deny the true condition of Earth. And these real photos will be detected by some special group among you. We have to avoid every camera on the surface, which is very difficult. In the past, we have sometimes been filmed without our knowledge, especially from some of your secret agencies. In this piece of information, we can find that the lizard men race of Lycerda cannot affect the camera itself, because they can only affect humans with fragile minds and minds, so they will avoid all camera shots. If they were captured on camera, and the picture was given to another human, who was not mind-influenced, then that person would be able to see what the lizard men really were. If this is the case, the places where cameras are ubiquitous in human civilization today will be places where the Lycerda race does not like to be present. In addition, when Lycerda was asked if he could use spiritual power to take human life, his answer was, "This behavior is forbidden." This is not to say that it was not used in earlier years, however, this information seems to indicate that the lizard men have used this ability to take the lives of humans, and when it was clearly forbidden,